Picture this. It's a Friday night. Your phone is buzzing with invitations. Your friends are already out. The city is live. And you close the curtains, make yourself something warm, and sit in the quiet of your own home. And it feels like the best decision you've made all week. But then, a tiny voice creeps in. Am I weird? Should I be out there? What is wrong with me? Here is the truth nobody tells you. Nothing is wrong with you. In fact, your brain might be doing something incredibly intelligent. And today, we're going to talk about exactly why some people feel most alive when they are simply at home. Society has a very specific image of a happy, successful person. They are out every weekend. They have a packed social calendar. They are always somewhere new, always surrounded by people, always moving. And if you don't fit that image, society quietly hands you a label: antisocial, boring, depressed, afraid of life. But here is what psychology actually says. Choosing home is not a sign of fear. It is not loneliness wearing a disguise, and it is absolutely not a personality defect. What it actually is a deeply misunderstood way of experiencing the world. And once you see it through the lens of psychology, it stops looking like a problem. It starts looking like a gift. Let's go inside the brain for a moment. Every human nervous system has what psychologists call a stimulation threshold, the amount of external input your brain needs before it starts feeling overwhelmed rather than energized. Some people have a naturally high threshold. They need noise, crowds, and constant movement to feel alive. Others have a lower threshold. Smaller doses of stimulation are enough. Too much, and the brain doesn't feel excited, it feels drained. For people who love being at home, the home environment does something very specific to the brain. It signals safety. It removes the need to constantly monitor and respond to the outside world. When that happens, your cortisol, the stress hormone, drops. Your nervous system exhales, and your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for deep thinking, emotional balance, and creativity, becomes far more active. In simple terms, your brain does not shut down at home, it actually switches on. The version of you that thinks clearly, feels deeply, and creates freely, that version lives best in the quiet. Psychologists call this restorative environment theory. The idea is that certain spaces allow the brain to recover its full capacity. And for many people, home is the most powerful restorative environment they have access to. Studies show that people who intentionally spend time in calm, familiar environments report significantly lower levels of mental fatigue compared to those who are constantly in stimulating social settings. Research suggests that solitude, real chosen solitude, activates parts of the brain associated with self-awareness, emotional processing, and long-term thinking. This is not the brain going quiet. This is the brain going deep. Psychologists call this the default mode network, a system in the brain that becomes highly active when we are alone and at rest. It is responsible for imagination, empathy, memory consolidation, and self-reflection. And here is what is fascinating. This network is most active not when we are busy, but when we are still. So when someone sits alone at home, thinking, dreaming, reflecting, their brain is not idle. It is doing some of its most important work. Now let's look at two people. Same long, exhausting week. Same Friday night. Person A walks out of work, pulls out their phone, and starts making plans. A dinner here, drinks after. The energy of other people is what recharges them. Silence feels uncomfortable. Stillness feels like something is missing. They need the world around them to feel full inside. Person B walks through their front door, drops their bag, and takes the first real breath they've taken all day. They make tea. They sit. Maybe they read or think or do absolutely nothing, and in that nothingness, they feel completely whole. Same week, same tiredness, completely different fuel. Psychologists call this the introversion-extroversion spectrum, and it goes far deeper than just being shy or outgoing. It is fundamentally about where your energy comes from. Extroverts are energized by external stimulation. Introverts restore through internal experience. Neither is superior, neither is broken. They are simply two different operating systems running on two different power sources. The problem is, the world was largely designed for one of them, and the other has spent years being told their natural way of recharging is somehow wrong. Here is where it truly gets interesting. People who love being at home are not just avoiding the outside world. They are often deeply engaged with their inner one. Psychologists have found that individuals who are comfortable with solitude tend to score higher in self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and creative thinking. They notice things others rush past. They sit with feelings long enough to actually understand them. They build a relationship with their own mind, and that is something most people never slow down enough to do. There is also something profound about what home represents beyond its physical walls. For many people, home is the only place in the world where the performance stops. No social mask, no managing impressions, no editing yourself in real time. Just the full, unguarded, authentic version of who you actually are. And in a world that constantly asks you to perform, finding peace in that authenticity is not weakness. It is one of the deepest forms of self-knowledge a person can have. So if this is you, if Friday nights in feel better than Friday nights out, if your home is your favorite place in the world, if you have ever felt guilty for simply wanting to be still, you are not broken. You are not behind. You are not wasting your life. You are wired differently. And different does not mean less. It means your brain found its peace in a place most people are too busy to appreciate. You do not need to justify your need for quiet. You do not owe anyone a packed social calendar to prove your life has value. Some of the most deeply alive, deeply feeling, deeply creative people in human history did their greatest living in stillness. Honor what your nervous system is telling you. That is not avoidance. That is self-knowledge, and that is rare. If this resonated with you, if something in this felt like it finally put words to something you have always known but never been able to explain, share it with someone who needs to hear it too. And if you want to keep understanding the quiet, fascinating ways your mind works, subscribe. Because the next video, it might explain something about your personality that you have been searching for your whole life. You were never too quiet for this world. The world was simply too loud to understand you.